Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Podtail Podcast. I have the most amazing guests today. I mean, today's conversation is gonna be fire. Nisha wa prep, so stay tuned. Anza ku like to sai, anza ku comment to sai, ata kama ejaanza, just start by doing that. Today we're recording at Grand Empire Kama Kawaida, the best spot in Eldoret for all your chill vibes. If you want to have an amazing afternoon, Grand Empire is where it's at. At here at Potel Bakat in our plug. Yani, we are everything you need. We are helping you intellectually, conversationally, na pia tuna our plug on all the good spots. So, without further ado, my name is Cecilia. I am the host. I am one of the hosts of Potel Podcast, but today I'm the host of this episode, and I have amazing guests. So we're gonna start from you to Kienda all the way to the chill dude at the ends.
Hi guys, I'm Edwin. I'm a marketer and business developer, and I'm a member of the Cube Hub. Thank you so much for hosting me.
Hi, I'm Faith Wanjiro, proprietor of Afro Style Craft Center, and I'm glad to be here. I'm looking forward to the conversation.
Yay!
Oh, hi, I'm Jay Masharia. I'm a digital creator. I'm a stylist too. And aside from that, I also started my own brand, clothing line brand. As you can see, whatever I'm wearing,
Hey,
this is all me.
a
Thank
cool
you for
dude.
having me. Yeah?
Yes. So, like I said, very diverse, a marketer, an entrepreneur, and a stylist. I mean, hey, no, but anyway, let's start this conversation. So, we're talking about the mental health crisis. And we've said, we use the word crisis very particularly, right? We didn't say the mental health issue problem, we said crisis among the youth. Do you think it's a crisis? Whoever would like to start, please take us away.
Yeah, yeah, I'll go for it because I agree with you. I do feel like as much as mental health in Kenya, it's been there. I don't know. It's like for the past years, it's gotten really worse, and maybe being a youth as well, we see it amongst our friends. We experience it ourselves. So I 100% agree that there is something that needs to be done and needs
Yeah.
to be done urgently.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 I'm glad you agree because
Mm.
do you also, gentlemen in the house, just say, gender equality, this is why even men are suffering. Let the men speak. Do you also agree that it's a crisis among especially the youth?
Yeah, I'd agree that it's a crisis. Most youth actually right now are experiencing mental problems like stress, depression, anxieties. And I think it's about time that we talk about it and let also youth be able to speak whenever they're facing such challenges. Yeah.
Such you guy.
It's a global issue, and we have seen it happening over and over, whereby you find there's a lot of suicide going on. There's a lot of issues that people are not able to come outside and talk about, and I feel like this is due to the way the society has grounded us in a way by in a way whereby you're not allowed to speak about some stuff. You just have to toughen up, and so I feel like at this point, we should be having at least more of groups whereby people are able to come and just have a conversation. So I feel like the first thing will be having the conversation first for that crisis now to be at least to know where
Unpack.
to.
Yeah.
So a conversation is what is to be had first.
Yeah, and here's Potel bringing the conversation to the table, right? We're ahead of the game. So I like how you mentioned examples of some of this crisis, part of this crisis of the mental health among the youth. You talked about depression and anxiety. You talked about suicide. Um, Let me pose first a personal question. Has any of you ever struggled with the mental health crisis? Ama nyinyi ni wale tu wa kusikia huko nje?
On my end, yeah, I have
Okay.
for a long time. I'll say, especially from my end. you're dealing with work, you're dealing with the idea of success, uh, emotional intelligence. There's some goals that one has in their lives that they want to accomplish, and having, especially on mind, if I'm on that floor right now, just to say, you will find, being at 30 years old plus, there's some things you thought by 25 you'll have accomplished.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to that, and you're just buying the house, and you're like, it kind of gets a bit depressing, whereby you feel like time is not on your side. But the thing is, things take time, and you just have to run your own race at your own pace. So yeah.
Thanks for sharing.
Have you?
Yeah, I'd say I've experienced. Um, okay, being young, siwezi kuwa kaje bado hatujafika third floor.
Wow, right?
No, Jay is actually young. Yeah, but yeah. Hey, so I've experienced a bit. I'd say a while back I lost my mom, so it affected me kukuwa na, like, just accepting the fact that she's gone. And also coming back, I was also in school back then. So coming back to studies, and now coping with the fact that your parents not there, and it, it gives you like your how should I say, anxieties sometimes. Yeah, but the thing that helped me was I just chose to be positive, so it helped me get over it. So, but yeah, apart from that, Pia, like the pressure also being a man, you have to you have to put work, you have to have money. Within the outs, and you're like broke, like, so you have to work extra. Yeah, you have to kuna hiyo pressure too from the society, from everyone, from home, from your friends, from your, okay, tuongelea dating scene baadaye, but of course, okay, ukiwa in a relationship here, like this, your pressure of being a man. So, and I feel it applies everywhere, but yeah, so all that, compare, like, if you don't have that positive mindset, it will affect you, like kukua depressed. Yeah.
I empathize with you guys, but honestly, for me too as well, I have struggled with different aspects of my mental well being, and I've chosen to take action like about it. Like, let's say last year I did therapy for one of the areas. You're always uncovering
New things, yeah.
so a lot of anxiety, but I went to therapy for it, and one thing I learned was like I just got the one thing I took away from like going for therapy for anxiety was just getting like the toolkits to deal with it. Yeah. So it was more of a thing of like, they don't give you like a remedy, magic medicine, no, but it's just the toolkit. So whenever I do feel like, okay, all right, this is, kind of shaking me up, I know I have like an array of things that I can pick from. And we've pointed, like talked about them, being positive, your friends, for other people, it could look like different things as well. Yeah.
That's,
Yeah.
that's good. Thank you guys for sharing. Me personally,
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever struggled. I want to. I want to Donnie empathize.
No.
I feel like it would be a different kind of empathy,
Yeah.
because sometimes my view of mental health crisis could be very contrarian because I've never been through it. I don't think I've ever struggled with depression. Of course, I've had like sadness, but not depression. There's a difference. I've never been anxious, like, or prolonged anxiety.
Yeah.
Unless ni ile tu ya kama before we come on set, I'm like a little bit butterflies, but nothing prolonged. So I've never struggled with it. So for me, I'm always peeking into people's minds who have gone through it. So that's why this conversation is very interesting for me. So, since all of you have shared that, what are some of the myths around the mental health crisis in Kenya? Because when we talk about particular parts of mental health, you'll hear people mentioning things like the way you said, for men, nasikianga whenever ni ya wanyonge. Like, how are you suffering? When you munyonge, you need to toughen up or something like that. So, what are some of the myths and misconceptions around the mental health conversation that you could help illuminate the crowd so that mtu akisikia mtu ako na mental health issue asiseme hiyo kitu because ajue ni myth. Yeah. Let's educate the crowd.
Because I'm holding the mic, I guess let me go fast. One, I have to point out that I'm not speaking as a professional, and I am not. I'm just going to rely on my own experiences. But the first thing I'd say is, like, if you do feel like seek professional help, like seek professional help, because I do feel like we self-diagnose a lot. Hey, my friend, I have OCD, I have ADHD. I'm not look sure, So yeah, siko baya, I understand. Like same conversation, like we self-diagnose a lot, yeah. But so one of the myths is that I'd say is like that self-diagnosing that we are doing a lot of. Yeah, that's what I can say. Yeah.
Okay, the myths behind mental health. I think kwanza for men, najua tukienda back, our parents, our dads, wakisikia uko depressed unasema uko na stress too, like like we expect, our parents expect, especially for men, everyone expects men to be strong. Yeah, and so mnaweza kuwa uko depressed, not me, but someone can be depressed, a man can be depressed, but people think that ako na stress, maybe people would assume, like maybe hata ukiona akienda go, like just depression can also go down to alcoholism. So ukiona mtu maybe he's drinking a lot, uko maybe choose that side, that road, but you don't know the underlying story behind it. So I feel people should be, especially the older generation, they should be open, like, to such conversations and be real, like eco, like for real, depression, eco, mental health, like, is an issue. And they should also adopt, like, ukiona the signs, you reach out, talk to the person, yeah, and communicate. And also communication, yeah.
Uh, on my end is what I will say is you know you'll find there's especially people from like our generation where they will say like depression is just like
In the mind.
in the mind. So that's the main issue where I feel like we need to be very open-minded about this is an actually a crisis
Yes.
whereby people are actually going through stuff. It's not just a sad moment because sadness just comes and goes. But now with depression, if you have gone through it, then you'll understand that you need to put in a lot of work because even being positive on your own and expecting things to change, it takes a lot of power. It takes a lot of a very strong mind
Yeah.
for one to overcome such a situation. So I feel like we should be more open-minded, yeah, as a generation, especially our parents, because I feel like now with the new generation, people are receptive of the whole idea of depression is actually real. Yeah.
Yeah. I think too, what you said, I struggle with believing people are struggling with the crisis in the numbers they are struggling in because of the self-diagnosis. Because how many times have we seen somebody go on social media and say their ex is a narcissist? Countless times, but nobody diagnosed your ex, right? You just picked bad behaviors and decided he's on the spectrum. Or somebody, how many girlfriends do we have, female friends do we have who have OCD? Thousands. No, you just know how to organize. You just know how to organize. You're not sick. You're really good at organizing. Or how many people do you know who go through, let's say, even depression, and you find them, you'd find it's in pockets and glimpses, so it looks different for everyone. But you are depressed when somebody else is depressed, like you're falling on somebody, because maybe I've seen that so many times. My one friend is depressed, then the whole group is now people have seasons of depression, and I'm like, I'm struggling to believe this depression. Now, who has diagnosed you guys? So one of the issues that I had with the numbers, especially because it has blown up really big in such a short amount of years because people are self-diagnosing, and so now everyone is struggling because everyone is hopping on the bandwagon of it, and that's what I was struggling with. I was feeling like a part of it is true because it is sickness. There's a place where your body, the way they explain to us that depression is hormonal and all of these things. There's part of it that is biological, and there's part of it that is life happens. But there's part of it like, bro,
Can
you did dumb
Yeah.
stuff and now you're sad.
Can I?
Yeah.
So one thing I'd like to say is for sure the numbers are staggering, but I also feel like times have changed. You know, right now with the generation we're having conversations, so but there are a lot of like underlying issues. So I would feel like you see like grief. Unresolved grief can cause something, right?
Yeah.
Societal pressures can cause something, right? Work can cause like all these issues that people are struggling with mentally, right? So I do feel like the conversation is more alive right now, and we are seeing more numbers because people are willing to talk about it. Yeah. And that doesn't take away from the numbers of people really struggling with it.
Yeah.
Let's say atakama you're sad, that's something, it's something, and that's why the conversation goes a long way. And even right now, I think with the age of like with social media right now, like you're able to, I don't think like, yeah, we see it maybe more often, or like let's say like how they say comparison, because I believe especially with the youth, utangalia, you're like, hey, I've seen like 30-year-old doing this, and then now you can feel that pressure. So I actually do believe like the number are staggering right now. And one thing is I actually feel for the men. I have brothers.
Yeah, the
And
men
I
have
feel
it
for
harder.
my
We agree.
brothers. I feel for my
You
brothers.
guys have it hard. Poleni.
Yeah.
Smocha.
But it's that thing of talking, right? Because us as women, we sit down, we'll talk, we'll be like,
Yeah.
hey, what's up? Like one thing nowadays for me, I do like, it's so easy to be like, hey, how are you? Utapatana na mtu kwa hospitali and you're like, how are you? They're like, I'm good. I'm like, come on now.
Like the
So
hospital.
yeah,
We are not good.
yeah. So even with my friends, like, right. But with my friends, I like being like, where you at? Pulse check on the rate of 1 to 5. Where are you at? In your heart, in your mind, and even if you don't have like the words for it, I'm just like, it's fine. Actually, like me and my sister have something where I'm like, 8 minutes. I think I remember I've spoken about that before. I'm like, just tell me you need 8 minutes to just talk it out. For the women, it's easier.
Yeah.
The men do not. And I think I could be wrong, but that's why there's a huge statistic in Kenya of men and suicide.
It's worldwide.
Yeah,
So
and for me, like in my hometown, like I've seen it. I've lost friends from from like mental health issues, right? So yeah, it's there. The numbers are staggering. We are seeing a lot of it, more, and it's important we address it. It's important to recognize it here, and we need to deal with it. Yeah.
So, in the same line of addressing or speaking out, like you see, me and Faith are friends. So what we normally do in most cases, we normally have those phone calls. We'll call each other, and me and Faith we're always honest about whatever we are going through. So, like I said, it starts with a conversation. So at most, we'll call each other, vent out, uh, talk whatever you want, say whatever you want to say. And even in most, a certain point, at one point we went to, I don't know, this waterfall.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, Kaptaget, yeah. And we just went there, me, Faith, and my friend called Laura, and we were all going through it. And we went there to the waterfalls. It was just the three of us, and we screamed.
And Jay, I commend you because you're a minority of the men who are willing to talk to their female friends
Yeah.
about it, to be like, hey, let's get on a call, I need to talk. You are the minority. The majority
Yeah.
don't. The majority would rather.
Yeah, on my end, if I'm to talk to a female about however I'm feeling, I feel like it's easy to tell a female friend, than to tell,
Tell a male friend.
no, leave alone that. Leave alone that. Like,
I was like, man.
no. Also, it's also hard for me to tell a male friend, yeah. But mostly for a man, I can, if I'm dating someone, there's no way I'm telling my girlfriend whatever I'm going through.
We're gonna get into that.
So
Put a pin in that. We're going there.
so because I've experienced that betrayal before.
Wait,
So
you will get into it.
okay, yeah. Well,
It's easy to talk to your female friend about
it's
it.
easy. I'm very open. I'm very open with my female friends. I feel like they've always they always hold me down, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So on my end, I feel like there's strength in being vulnerable, and there's also there's strength in being vulnerable, and I on my end, I believe as a man or as a female, you should be embrace the whole idea of being vulnerable, open mind, speak your feelings, whatever you're going through, because there's something that one of my favorite rappers said, Jay-Z. He said,
That's
um,
my father, guys.
he said, being vulnerable means you're the strongest person in the world, because you're actually exposing yourself to the world. So it's okay to cry. You can cry if you want to, because that shows just how strong you are, how brave you are. Because the whole world can see you, can see. You are able to show your feelings to the world of how you're actually feeling at that point.
Yeah.
So, in my opinion, I feel like people should be, especially men, we should just be, speak your feelings as much as you can. If you have any support system, talk to them as much as you can. Uh, don't hold back. Yeah.
Let me give a parting shot to that. And you know why sometimes you talk to your friends? You don't talk to your friends because they have answers. You actually, there's power in letting that out. So the people also like find power in journaling it out. Like the moment you just let that feeling flow, because not talking about it, it's like what is it? It's margin like but you're trying to, you're creating like a well, like a dam, and when water is coming out and not going out, it's a crisis, right? You don't talk to your friends because they have the answers. There's just that thing of hearing it out. And I would really like plead with anybody out there, please make sure that the people you surround yourself with can hold you, right? Because he also does the same. We've said about it, like, even me, I'll be going through it, but I'm like, you know what, I'll talk to a friend of mine, maybe not because they have the answers, right? But just that letting it flow, will help. So I really hope, like, if you're out there, you do have like a strong support system around you, right? Find your tribe, love them hard, keep them. Yeah.
I think that has been my story. I think the reason why I've never been through the trenches is because my support system is insane.
Yeah.
If they just can sense if I'm 1 degree off.
Yeah.
Hello, uko toka nje, kwani weni pan? Come. We are going to sit with you and hang out and talk about it. So I have a really good support system. I have 2 sisters who, when I say we ride at dawn, at midnight, they are ready with their armor. Yeah. So I have a really good support system. Now,
shout out to your support system.
Shout out to my sister. Hi guys. I'm sure they're watching. They'll comment. So now let's get into the dating scene of it all, right?
Yeah.
Before, okay, you said about like the rising numbers in mental health. Yeah, so I also feel like people also misjudge between depression and sometimes you're just burnt out, like unaweza kuwa burnt out crazy, like you just don't feel like doing anything, going to work, moving, and like nataka tu kurest, scroll. Yeah. And then maybe hapo at this particular time uko hapana, leo niko depressed, like leo siko, and maybe too you just uko burnt out. So I feel like when you're feeling here, maybe at even the anxiety or some you're kukuwa overwhelmed, like you just take a rest, like a break from everything, like even disconnect yourself from social media, take a break from people, like have a rest, have a good an email, like a good shower, takani 10 minutes or 20 minutes, whatever, and then as in by the time you just umeamka, like you feel so much better, like hata hutakuwa unafikiria nilikuwa nasema nilikuwa depressed a while back. Yeah.
20 minutes of shower.
Maybe bathtub.
Yeah. But that's a good point. We highly recommend resting because that's a whole other misconception, especially I find among men. Yeah, actually, if you take a beat or you take a break, when you munyonge or hey, unatulia nini, that's another misconception that rest is weakness. It's not weakness. Rest, sleep was designed for a reason for us to be able to have that beat. Yeah, so mm, scientifically, sleep is good for all of us. Taking a beat is good for us. Taking a rest day is essential to everyone's health, general physical health, and mental health. So let's move on to the dating. So of course, with the rise in mental health issues, has we see the results in the dating culture in general, because now people break up over, like what I said, that things like he's a narcissist, or people don't have time. Yeah, if you're not adding to me, bruh, I'm gone. That those narratives have been really pushed as a result of, I would say, as a direct result, but you could choose to disagree, as a direct result of the rising of the mental health issues and the mental health conversations. So now dating culture has shifted so that now everyone is me centered. I have to give me, me, me. And when we know with dating and relationships, it's not just primarily me, right? Yes, you're supposed to take care of yourself, but not primarily are you the situation. You have joined and committed to somebody else. Jay mentioned something very important that we need to get back to before I forget. Because now I have the opposite reaction to what you said,
Yeah.
Jay. So Jay said that when he's in a relationship, he finds it harder to be able to be vulnerable with his problems to his significant other in that time. Please explain. Fafanua zaidi, 20 points.
Um,
Do you feel
this
the same
this
way?
this is from my own experience, yeah, and um, so the world venye inaona a male figure is you're supposed, especially women, yeah, uh, you're supposed you're supposed to be strong, tough, and not to speak out on whatever you're going through. So on my end, I've been in a position whereby, because like I said, I'm a very vulnerable person. I'll always speak my mind, yeah. Whereby if I spoke my mind to whoever I was seeing at that point, then a few months later, 4 months or whatever months later, somebody you don't even like, it's just an acquaintance. Umepata tu naye pahali and they're telling you some stuff, so yeah, so I feel like you, it just depends with who you decide to trust in this case. And I feel like um, with friends, I'll always be vulnerable with my friends because I've known them for such a long time.
Sorry.
Okay.
Tapona.
Yeah, I think not just me. I think most men, like almost all men, because when you're dating someone, or rather when you have a girlfriend, um, the girlfriend expects you to be there for her, like all the time, like financially, mentally, physically, in all aspects. So when you're not there, then you're considered weak, you know. And when also najua when you're experiencing your vulnerability, about like especially like when you're not feeling that you're okay, you'd want someone who to share with, and that person asquare na emotions isquare like more emotional, equal logical. Me I'd want and I share with Jay, and Jay ataniambia bethe inifal ulifanya, like kukua real.
It depends on the problem.
No, like I'm just saying, like
If you're
I'd,
grieving,
I'd
you don't want Jay to tell you unafanya upara.
no. Sometimes it depends. It depends.
Yeah,
Like
depends.
save, but
Yeah.
najua like how how I'd share with a friend and how I'd share with a partner. A friend would be real with you, like atakwambia be there. This it'll happen if it's okay, it may happen. Like we just figure it out. But when you share with your partner, anajua na atakuwa zile za what were you thinking, nini nini, or even anaweza kusupport at that time, but as venye amesema, like the day mtakosana, the day something would happen.
Let's just say,
No,
let's
I'm
just
just
say,
saying.
no, listen,
No,
it just depends.
It
It
depends.
depends with the person and how compatible you're with the person. So
Yeah.
this doesn't apply to every other babe out
Yeah.
there. You understand? Yeah.
Because now me, I was on the receiving end as a female. I was on the receiving end of my boyfriend having that stereotype of feeling like, oh, I can't share. I have to be strong. So I have to put up this person that I don't go through nothing emotionally. Now the problem was when he did go through things emotionally, he would spiral and I wouldn't know. And then he's upset at me because I don't know that he spiraled. And I'm like, hello? I don't read minds. Hello, I'm not a magician. So now how are we supposed to have a relationship if men have this wall up here? We're supposed to be strong. We're not supposed to share. And by the way, when we say men are supposed to be strong, what do we mean? Side chat. You need a whole other episode because now we need to talk about what we mean by strength, especially from a woman's standpoint. Because I think when men think strength, they think masculine kind of strength. Oh yeah, you're a little wall. You're immovable. Nothing goes through, and that's what I mean. Hey, that is incompatible. I'm not supposed to be anyway. Story for another day. Then a whole other episode. We'll get to it. So I was on the receiving end of somebody who wasn't sharing, and then they're upset at me because I don't know what they're struggling with. Because he'll say things like when he's upset, you don't even know what I'm going through. Oh, am I supposed to know? Am I good? Am I good? How am I supposed to? Then tell me. Then he's like, jeez.
Yeah.
Thanks. Anyway, this has turned into therapy.
Yeah.
Again, mental health.
Like, I know, so you asked how you're supposed to communicate with someone, right? So I'm going to go back to the point of it's important to have your friends. Okay, maybe this is a digressing, but it's related. You know, you meet someone, you're in love. This person is supposed to be your best friend.
Yeah.
Come on, you're a babe. He's supposed to be your gossip mate. Hey, you're a dude. He's supposed to be your boys. Hey, watch football, everything for you, which is unrealistic. So I do feel like it's very hard to believe that this one person, then they're going to be everything for me.
Yeah,
so that's why you also find the power of having your friends, being your own individual even in this relationship. One, it's very unfair. Whatever happened, like honestly, it's not fair at all to use somebody's like at their weakest, use their weakest moments, right, or the moment of vulnerability against them. Whether you're doing this to a fellow babe, to a dude, it's honestly it's ugly behavior. We can all agree on that, and that's someone who needs to check themselves. And because I do feel like people project a lot, and so for me, even one of the controversial things I say, being in a relationship, when you're kosoko watatuambia nasikia huku nje, you guys are not saying it's somebody because they let out natural air. Really? I've heard like, hey, I cannot the bra.
But me, I wouldn't let out natural air in front of my man.
Well,
I'm there.
So so what I'd say is sometimes, like saying in a relationship, like for me, even when I'm with someone, right, like my partner, I want him to be the best version of himself, right? Like I don't care to come and be like, hey, no, you be the best dad or you be the best boyfriend, right? Because I'm like, the moment you're able to be like, even for me, I'm trying to be the best version of myself, because then this is the same. This is the way I show up to my friendships. Remember, I'm also somebody's daughter. This is the way I show up to my family. This is the way I show up to my friends. So the goal is like really to be the best version of yourself, right? So it's very unfair to even look at someone, even as babes who go like, I want you to be. Actually, like saying this, like, and for the younger ones, especially the younger, if you're out there and you're dating and you're maybe stressing your partner to do things that even yourself you can do for yourself. It's a challenge, right? So the goal is really, even in a relationship, like to be just the best version of yourself, whether it's like that's the way you'll be able to show up as this improved version of yourself to other people around you. Because remember, your life is not only a romantic relationship. There's a circle of life, there's a wheel of life. if I find that tool, I'll share it. But it's really, you know how we say even at work-life balance. It's not true. You have your spiritual life, you have your romantic relationships, you have your friendships. Like it's a whole pie with so many moving parts, right? Yeah. So usieke somebody as your savior in this relationship. Please find other support systems. Please also don't use people's like when they are vulnerable. Do not, because the moment someone is sharing with you, really, and as you say, it takes a lot for you to be like, I don't know if I can share anymore. It might have been that one person. Okay, I pray to God. Not everybody is like that, right? I'd like to believe that, but really, yeah. Let's not have ugly behaviors. Let's just call it those ugly behaviors. Let's not have that. Yeah.
I like that. I like that. So the dating culture, of course, has shifted. We've seen it. Kwanza, I don't know if it's shifted, ama it's a whole new monster. It's a whole new. Maybe I'm just like, hiya, hiya, what's going on? I recently went on a date, and this guy asked me if I am emotionally intelligent, and I said, on a scale of 1 to 10, I think I'm a solid 6. I'm a solid 6. And then he said, that's very introspective of you, that hujajua hujafika 10. And I asked him if he's emotionally intelligent. He said men shouldn't care about emotions. And I laughed. And I laughed because I was like, why do you care if I'm emotionally intelligent if you don't have emotions and you're not supposed to care about emotions? And who am I helping with my emotional intelligence? Who am I helping? And then he was like, Nima overthink. So I think there's a whole other thing at play here where men and women are being polarized with different issues. And one of the biggest issues is, I'm afraid to say this. Can I say without being crucified? Is it the same? Kwani mtanichapa? Hamtanichapa.
Sema kutoke.
So niseme nitoke. The biggest, I think the biggest issue is men have been made to think women are their enemies, in the sense that they're told, the person for you is your fellow man, the person who will anchor you is your fellow man. In some spaces unaniangalia in so much shock, like you've never heard this, but that is the whole thing that I've been seeing all along, that men feel like women are their enemies and women feel like men are their enemies as well. That you're for example, the whole conversation, if you're put in a woods with a bear or a man, choose one. A bear. Everyone was choosing, and I'm like, guy, this is a very extreme example. So now my question back to you guys is, do you think, one, the same thing that I've said is true, that one of the anchoring issues is that we're being polarized and are being made to seem like we're each other's enemies? Do you think it's true? And number two, how are you combating that? Because we are either directly or indirectly consuming it through our social media, our Twitter. We're all consuming it somehow. So let's talk about it.
First of all, poverty is the enemy. Yeah. Yeah. So apart from that now, of course now kuna hiyo crucifixions between both parties, like, and I feel like it comes with expectations, like everyone anakuja in a relationship with expectations. So yeah, na standards pia, like there's a lot of standards, unajua. When I come to like when a lady comes to a relationship, like amekuja na standards ya the previous person na anataka uzibit, yeah, ama uzisurpass. So when you're below, like your relationship, like, to be having like problems. And to back to my point here, poverty is the enemy. I feel like most of the problem comes with money, like do the support when a relationship iko na let me just say, when a man has money, like some sustainable amount of money, even there'll be no problems with the relationship, less problems, like the shorty won't be nini. So
Wow. Okay.
yeah, but hapo kusipokuwa na pesa, like there'll be like problems zitakuwa, like issues zitakuwa, because Because okay, let
Mm.
me just ask you a question.
Yes.
Would you be comfortable like carrying a man? Like,
That's why I've said on particular
Yeah,
points. I've said that
Yeah.
very, very carefully. I agree that it is important for men to have money for their mental health, for everything about them, first of all. Because when they are broke, they're a whole different demon. That's a whole other monster we have to deal with when they are
Yeah.
broke. But do I think that when he has money, then there will be no problems? If he has money and is a poor communicator, we'll still have problems. If he has money and is abusive, we'll still have problems. You know, so that money is not the solution. If he has money and is a horrible man altogether, like money is all he got.
but in eradicate
50%
No.
is too high. 50% is too generous. First of all,
Yeah. You know what I'd say? For sure. For sure. There's all these gender wars going on.
for sure.
This
Nimechoka.
disparity,
Yeah.
toxic femininity, toxic masculinity, we are seeing it. It doesn't make sense. Honestly, I wish we were on this side where we're like, there is so much you could learn from each other.
That's
So
why
let me,
I'm old. I'm old.
girl, so some of your old, what do we say? On this side, you know,
This is like things that people
let me
in their
tell
old age
you,
say, like, we
let me
have
tell
so
you,
much to learn.
you know, there's so much you can learn from each other. And I'm going to use an example of a conversation that I had earlier about how, people say, I want the confidence of four white men walking into a room. I want the confidence of a man.
No.
Trust me, you see even HR professionals say, you for job positions, men wanakujanga na this audacity. This high audacity. I'm not even qualified, but I'm going to apply and I'll ask for twice the salary you're offering,
my
right?
budget is 70,000.
Right? And then maybe let's give an example. So like let's say for women, you would like, I know we are audacious, right? But sometimes there's this confidence and audacity, even in investing, and that's a whole other conversation that a lot of men move around with. But even men on the other side, you can find this softness that women have, this vulnerability. There is power to it. There is power to it.
Gentleness.
Yeah. So I really do wish we'd really like acha all this fighting, all these gender wars, and just know that there's so
Please.
much you can learn from each other because we're meant to coexist.
Yeah.
Like we can coexist, right? So on that point, I'm going to say there's so much you can learn from each other if we really just decided to put aside. But it does come a lot with like ego and ego really mostly.
And also pain.
There's so many things we can unpack in this.
Yeah, and pain.
Upbringing, there's so much stuff. But what I'll say for sure is there's so much you can learn from each other, really. Woman to woman, woman to man, man to man, man to woman. There's going to be so much you can learn from each other.
Me personally, I honestly admire men's physical strength. I see them in the gym and I'm like, I could never, but power to y'all.
You know.
Please lift it so that you can lift me.
Yeah. And you mentioned something about relationships and money. Wait, let me tell you.
Money. This is a whole other conversation.
So disclaimer. Watu wenye wako soko nyinyi mtatuambia. Some of us hatujakuwa soko in a lot of years, for years, right? So I don't know what's happening in the scene right now. But I don't want to believe that money is a lot of issue. So even when people who are like in long-term relationships or people who are even married, you find like the topics that people argue about mostly are one, yes, there's money, there's parenting styles, and there's sex. Yeah, those are like topics that people are arguing. Those are the relationships people fight about like a lot. So we understand money, but me, I'm also telling my girlies, bana, get that bag. Yeah, there's a Megan Thee Stallion song that I won't refer to that asks girls to get their money.
Yeah, but I think evolutionary. Let me use that term. From the way marriage was set up, kitambo, marriage has always been transactional. Yeah, Mimi as a wife, I'll give you children, you will have legacy, right? And then you have to protect and provide for me. I never have to worry. So in that sense, it was very. So in that world where it was so transactional, that basis, money was everything. If you're a man and you couldn't provide, hey, wait. Utaoa nani? Who would you marry? And then if you had money, now you could shut everyone up because where would anyone else go? You have my kids, like where would you go? But I think right now the tide has shifted so much because, for example, like for me, as a woman in my 20s, there's a small minority of men in their 20s who are making bank. Enye akisema nanyamaza. There's a very small minority, but back then a man could have like 20k na ananyamazisha bibi yake. Anasema mimi ni mwanaume kwa hii nyumba, Right now, if a man is making 20k, he's having mental health issues. He's like bills are catching up, especially if you're living in Nairobi, bills are catching up and everything. So right now, I think the tide has changed for money. You have to, if that is the case, you have to be like a billionaire to be able to hold that kind of status. Yeah, I can even marry many women and they won't tell me nothing, like, because I have so much money. What I'm giving to them is insane value. But come on, you're making 60K, right? And me, I'm making 40. Bro, I can leave and get, there's the tide has changed because women now are making money. But if they didn't, I'm telling you, it will be a different monster. You'd be marrying 8 even. You'd be like, yes, my lord. Yeah, that's what I think. You want to say something?
Yeah. You said hiyo kumekuwa na hiyo tide imechange from back from our parents era generation yao coming into our generation. At this point, the dating scene like completely had changed because even if you're dating someone, most people also don't believe in settling or in marriage.
Which is so unfortunate.
Yeah, so from that point of view, like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
You know?
But who said that? Who said that? Everyone will talk about who said that, this mindset that we don't need to settle or marriage is the enemy. Who said?
No,
Because
what wamekuwa woke, okay? In this context, so people don't especially ladies, I'll say, I don't think they believe in the holding of marriage anymore. Like I feel like we are so past that. So at this point,
so am I transgender?
So if you're operating from that point of view, yeah, I mean, then you are certain that the dating scene is it's dirty as it can be. Mm-hmm. So there's no saving us.
Who's benefiting from? Who's benefiting from not marrying?
Well, let me tell you guys something. As someone who has been in how many years now?
7 years. Tell us.
Karibu niwafanyia ile jumuiya. Inaitwa jumuiya. In a relationship, right? What I'd say honestly is we have unrealistic standards right now. I do feel like people have unrealistic standards. Let's just be real, right? Because the challenge is like you, by virtue of everything, you know yourself to be, you're like, me, I'm perfect. You're not perfect. Where is that stemming from? You know what I'm sorry. That's what I hate to be controversial, but I'm going to say, for me, a lot of self-reflection. Because let me tell you, until you're in a, so even just check it up on the internet, usually say there's a 2-year long term relationship, there's a 2-year issue. You're like, because you know someone, it's exciting. You're only seeing you're seeing them dressed at their best. You guys are meeting, you're seeing all the good parts. Until now, life.
Jay ametoa miwani, it's about to get
hot. until life starts getting real.
Yeah.
So you see this person going through something, you're like, brother, you know, I thought I'd see you on your days, right? But then sometimes, I don't know do you think this would be, I mean, first, I'm all of like, whether you want to be in a relationship or not, yes or no? I have uncles who have their 50s, aunties who have not been married, but I also have some who've been. So it's really a personal choice. Let's start with it's a personal choice. But my personal view of it is like, actually say something. Kwanza, the moment you're doing life with someone, Kwanza, if you have siblings, do you ever fight with your siblings?
Yes.
Right? Do you ever fight with your siblings? Even with your parents? Even with your parents?
I cannot relate fighting with siblings.
Okay, you fight with your friends with your friends, right? Yeah. You know, so then when it comes to, like, let's say in the context of a romantic relationship, the moment you have a little scuffle with this person, you're like, I'm out, right? So I actually like saying, in a relationship, you'll have to compromise a lot. Just don't compromise your happiness. You get to a point where you're compromising your happiness, sawa basi. You'll compromise a lot. Hey, my friend, you're going to be like, umse ukula hivi, you know. But I like someone also said, like, know what's important to you. It's also important. So you said, if you're a babe and you're like me, I want a man who's providing, I'm not doing anything. imagine go find that person, but don't stress that man who's like apana hapa we are going to saidiana, right? If you're a dude who's like me, I want a babe who's going to nataka mtu mwenye anakaa kwa nyumba, they look after the kids for me, I don't want them to work.
Please locate me.
Go find that person. Don't find a babe out here you've met sijui at a corporate event and then she's like no, me I care about my career, and then you're like hapana, no, you go find what you're looking for, right? But there's a lot to unpack. Kwenye mko soko, hebu tuambieni.
I'm trying to get.
I don't envy you guys, but okay.
We envy you. Trust, we envy you. I'm trying to get at the root of it because I think we're talking about the symptoms of the problem. The symptoms is, there's the fact that there's careers, those are symptoms, but does it because I think at the heart of every human being is social wanting to have a person. Like nobody doesn't want to have your person. Nobody doesn't want that. Nobody thinks of the idea of having somebody who is there for you constantly, who is your ride or die, who is constantly in your corner and thinks ill. No one thinks like that, right? So even the people who have made the choice not to marry, they are not against the choice of having a partner, unless you are completely celibate. And then they have their own reasons. Either it's religious, where God is my person, so they already have that. So what is the root of this? Telling ourselves, or me, I'm thinking it's deception, deceiving ourselves that we don't need a personal person, yet tuko kwa soko. What is this? What is this tunafanya?
This is where I go back to like there are so many issues in the air. There are so many. You could catch like this, be like, oh, abandonment issues. You could cut something and be like, I don't know.
I like where you've gone. I like where you've gone.
A lot of issues in the air.
I think honestly, it stems from our families.
Yeah,
it stems from our families.
Like actually, like our bringing. I feel like especially where as people like saying the African and brown households.
Yeah,
there's so much. There's so much that the roots. I say like the root ile mizizi of things that you've seen. But then I also like saying, tell me guys if I'm wrong or not. Do you feel then at some point it's your responsibility to get better? Yeah, it's your way to unlearn.
It is. But
is it?
It is our responsibility to get better. But you wouldn't know you have to get better if you don't know you're sick.
Right.
So most of us don't think that our family setup messed us up to be able to be in other relationships.
So can we see how at the end of the day, self-awareness is like
at the heart of it.
It's iko hapo. Yeah. Like just that being self-aware. I react like this because it takes a lot. It takes a lot.
I am quick
time.
to leave relationships because my father went for milk and never came back. I'm joking. My father is very present. Please.
Also, on that note, there's a book I'm yet to finish. It's called by Bruce D. Perry and Oprah Winfrey. It's titled "What Happened to You," and on that book they talk about instead of asking someone what happened to you, why are you behaving like this, why are you moving like this, because there's a root of that. That issue, their demeanor. The question that you should ask them. I meant to say what's wrong with you, but rather you should ask them what happened to you. Because a lot of issues that we normally hold in zinakuanga ni from family trauma, and so for one you need to accept your shortcomings. Say this is what I'm dealing with, these are my flaws, accept them first. And that's where most people go wrong, because I remember I was dating someone and I told them what did I tell them? I told them you have such a big ego. Me, I know I do have an ego, but this one me I can compromise yangu ishuke if I feel I'm in the wrong. So, but this one yake iko inashuka na ni ile like I'm telling you, accept your flaws first, accept your shortcomings first. From there on, then pia mimi flaws zangu na nile zangu I will try and compromise, at least compatible. We meet in the middle. But if it's just a one-way sided no things from your own point of view, then there's no way we are moving past this. You understand?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how we've gotten to the family part.
Oh, a lot,
I,
yeah. And facing that man or woman in the mirror.
Yeah,
Oh my
it's a
God, it's the
monster. The
hardest
monster in the
thing.
mirror.
Yeah, and like what you said, Juicy was also like at a place where Vusi was talking and he mentioned something about like know your demons, know them, and you're like, wow, hey, it's uncomfortable, but the uncomfortable truths, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I think just to add on what you said, I think one thing apart from the family trauma, you also content. Like most people are not content. Like okay, even like ukiangalia wababa, like the young people, like hakuna mtu, like people are right now want to have one, 2 or 3 more partners on the side, like yeah, which is like we actually that's it actually brings problems because maybe we are together and then 3 years later you come realize that I have another partner on the side. Yeah, and of course a relationship it'll break, or even if it doesn't break, we'll be creating a toxic relationship.
Yep.
Yeah, so I
So
think
the
neo
cycle will
content.
continue.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think one of my
so much to unpack.
one of my worst fears is transferring the trauma now to my kids.
Yes.
Just bringing it to a whole other world. I hate that. Yeah, Nikki, imagine to you. I'm like, I'm going to therapy now. No. Anyway, we have had a really like enlightening conversation. Like I think we've talked about so much, talking about self-diagnosis all the way down to things like family traumas, meeting in the middle, vulnerability, what is strength, gender norms, gender wars. We'll get to that. And no, I wouldn't. Personally, I hate that conversation because I don't think it has an end. I think too many endless rabbit holes. We've talked about so much. So if you've kama umefika hapa in the episode, thank you so much. Hebu kwa wapigia wenye wamefika hapa. Wakofi. Yeah, thank you so much for getting here. Thank you so much for being here. Do not forget to like, comment, share, subscribe. Tell your grandmother to tell her grandmother to subscribe. Tell everyone in your community to subscribe. We are on the road to 2K. We are so excited for that. So right now, we are going to end right here. Thank you guys for showing up. We'll have a part 2 because I think your story money. We are going to get to that. Now, your kitabu yako, please finish. We'll have a book club. We'll have that. So, we'd like to end there. Have a good day. Bye.